Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Jaime Zuleta here, back with another video. Guys, I want to thank every single one of you, every single person out there that put in a comment, that put likes to my video, shared my video. Mate, I had a few people watch it down from the States, from quite a few different places, and mate, all my love and just respect and thank you for, putting in a like and yeah, commenting on the video and yeah, taking the time to view it. All right. Now, guys, first of all, I want to tell everyone out there that who's watching those videos, a lot of time content creators and people like myself that take the time to do these videos, there's a lot of editing that goes in place. They're cutting the videos 15 minutes or 5-minute videos, and then they turn it into 25-minute, 30-minute video. um, and they look really good. I'm not going to do none of that. All right, these are raw videos where I am not doing any editing in between. It's from A to Z, okay? And the intention of doing videos in this way was to make them genuine, to make raw videos where I might make a couple of mistakes, might, stumble a couple of words and, get my thoughts in a few of the sections, but that's the intention. I wanted to come across as someone transparent and someone that is just doing this from a perspective that to talk about different subjects that we'll be going through, okay? And like I probably said in the first video, that it's going to be mainly focused, about 70% of the videos is going to be mainly regarding Australia and the situation that's going here politically, economically, socially, etc. And we're also going to touch about 30% on things that are happening overseas that in some way or another they do affect us. And yeah, so let's get on with it. Very, very busy couple of weeks. From the last videos you saw, it had just happened where the shooting had just happened in Bondi. Very sad situation. It was great to see how the Australian people got together, came out and showed a lot of support to the families, to the loved ones that lost someone. I saw some videos out there of the lovely girl. Her name was Matilda, 10 years old, and to have some disgusting human beings take her life is so, so sad. So all my love and prayers, and I know that family is going through a terrible, terrible time, like a lot of the families that lost a loved one. Quite a few heroes out there, quite a few heroes. I think there's a bit of, at least here in Australia, there's a bit of debate on, that Ahmed, I think it's how you pronounce his name, sorry if I get it wrong, the person who, it was actually a tobacco store that he owned and that got a lot more shots than we had expected. I think it was around 4 or 5 shots that he received. So very surprised that he is alive. He's lost, probably is going to lose a bit of movement in one of his arms. Now, saying that, he's the one that we all saw that the cameras managed to frame him where he's taking the gun off the person. He was, he didn't shoot him back. That I don't know if anyone else would have done that. And it just goes to show how someone, independently that he'd been shot so many times and that he was shooting at other people, killing other people. I don't know if every single one of us or people that were in that situation that would have done that. That I think is very little people would have probably put themselves in that position, in that kind of danger, and he did. So he's a hero, and there's a few more heroes that we haven't spoken too much about. I believe there was a couple that saw him when he was taking the guns out of the vehicles, out of the boots of the vehicles, and I think that couple was one of the first ones that were passed away. Well, the people in Sydney got together. There was some beautiful, emotional things that they did. The surfers as well, the Life Surfing Club. did different things, and they got out at sea. There was a lot of beautiful things that were done over the last 2 weeks, and also Ahmed had a nice celebration that they did for him and a few of the people that was out at the cricket stadium. Um, so look, I think it's time that this is really time that we've got to reflect on what's going on. And as many people out there, many politicians, many people that have influence within the country, within Australia, and just general people like me and yourself that are watching this, we believe that, our Prime Minister is accountable for a lot of what's happening in Australia. Okay, and it's shameful, and we've been asking for a Royal Commission, which a Royal Commission is basically where they come in and they look at every little aspect. It's a major inquiry that's done into this situation, and it looks like he doesn't want to do it because it's probably going to make him look quite bad. And there's quite a few, people out there that's saying that he should resign, and to be honest, I think he should as well. And I think he's not representing the Australian people, and he hasn't been representing the Australian people in a lot of ways. And this is really now hit our shores, and it's something that we'd never seen here. So hopefully we can stop this from happening, and it doesn't happen ever again. But it's something that now we have to be concerned about. And let's see what happens. But look, I think it's time that we leave Ahmed and the people that were involved in this. Let's stop trying to take him to the TV and trying to stop taking him to do interviews and, all these kind of things. Let's just leave them alone. Let them be in peace. They've gone through a lot, and it's time for them to be able to, find themselves, find their peace in their heart. They saw a lot, and there's a lot of people out there. Like I said, there's a lot of unknown heroes out there. And to all of you, thank you very much, and appreciate you being good Australians and good human beings. All right, on another note, changing a bit of subject, Mr. Maduro, Nicolas Maduro, has finally been captured, as some are saying kidnapped, okay, and has been flown into the US and is currently awaiting trial. For those people, I'm going to give you a bit of an insight for those people that don't know much about Maduro, about Latin America and what's happening in that area. Now, Nicolas Maduro is the president of a country called Venezuela, and it is a socialist country, communist country, that a lot of leaders today, they cover themselves, or it's a bit of putting on like a bit of makeup, or putting on a suit, a costume, you could say, that they try to show that they're socialists and this and that. And look, in the background, everything they do is more like a communist country. Now, to give you a bit of an insight in Nicolas Maduro. Nicolas Maduro has been, I think he's been in power now for something like 17 years. He took over Chavez, which was another dictator who came from a military background. Now, to put all this into context, Venezuela was one of the richest countries in the world in the 70s. I think they were considered up in the 20th richest countries in the world. Very high wage capita within the world, and you can see how when communism and socialism ends up destroying a country. One of the highest inflations in the world. Their poverty was at around 70% of poverty. It's more than 9 million people that have left the country to go to other countries around the world, one of them being Australia. We have Latin America. There's a lot of them in Chile, Argentina, Colombia, which is one of their borders, huge amount of people, Europe, etc. They've had to go to other countries to try to look for better economical situations, send a bit of money back to their country. Their inflation is crazy, and their poverty, like I said, is also out of this world. And this people that are in charge of their country, like Nicolas Maduro and his wife and a few others, which is Daisy Rodriguez, I think is her name, the one that they just swore in. Uh, they have brought a lot of harm to the Venezuelan people. Okay, I've known of quite a few, um, several Venezuelans over the year, beautiful people, very nice people, and that have gone through a lot, and they've had to escape and look for better situations elsewhere. Now, Nicolas Maduro, for those who don't know, Nicolas Maduro started off, he was part of the bus unions. He was a bus driver, he was part of the bus unions, and that's where he worked his way up politically. Where he became well known was when Chavez, there was a time when Chavez was taken into, again, because when Chavez came into power, and I'm just going to backtrack a little bit because I know there's a lot of people that are saying, oh yeah, typical, they're taking over Venezuela because they want the oil, they want the crude, and they want all these riches. They have a fair bit of gold as well. And let me tell you, all right, if you don't know, North American companies were the ones that actually built everything to be able to extract that crude back in the 70s. It was all America that did that, all right? It was their money that they put in. When Hugo Chavez, who was a dictator that was before Maduro, and he came into power, what Chavez did, Chavez went and started going around, and there's even videos you can watch of him. He would go into the city. There was a jewelry shop. There was a restaurant. There was whatever type of business was in his proximity, he would point to it with his people that he would walk around. And he would say, that is no longer private, it is now public. And the government would take possession of these different businesses. And it was people that were doing a bit better than the rest, and that's what started happening. And he did the same thing with a lot of, oil companies, and they had to leave, the country. And so they built that infrastructure. So when we say that, they are now coming in and taking it over. Look, from what Donald Trump has said, and we have to see this happen, and I'm sure it will happen, is that they're going to come back in, reinvest, put that infrastructure again, and then sell crude, of course, and they're going to put a lot of that money back into their people, into the Venezuelan people. Yes, I'm sure they've got to pay the American companies, that have spent all this money and probably put some money in for themselves as well. They're spending all this money on helping another country. There's military involved. There's a lot of things involved. And I think that's one of the things that Trump's have stopped doing. Let's stop throwing money out there. Let's help. But, we need to recover some of these costs. So what Maduro started, there was a time where they were trying to take over the country because Chavez was in power. So when Chavez was in power, he was in jail for not a very long time, but he's in for a period. And a lot of people that supported him, as you know, there's always going to be people that support communism, because what they do is they give you a few dollars here, a few dollars there, some public programs, and people sometimes within ignorance, and it ends up working against them. And this was what happened with Venezuela. People put these people there into power because they made all these promises when they had a beautiful country, successful country, and what did they do? They filled themselves with money and left the people poor. And that's what we've seen, what communism and socialism has done nearly in every single country around the world. So Maduro ended up visiting Chavez while he was in jail, befriending him. He's not an idiot. So he ended up befriending him and created a relationship with him while he was in jail. When they let Chavez out, and then Chavez ended up passing away, he came out as the savior. He even said that he saw him in his dreams, and he told him that he had to lead the people and stuff. And, ignorance is bliss. And people voted for him. So this situation that Venezuela is in now is because of the people. You know, the Venezuelans, sorry, you guys voted for him. You know, and now there's someone else that's helping you out. And it's a shame to see that there's all these world leaders, just so you know, there's about 50 countries that don't recognize Nicolas Maduro because he rigged the elections. There was international pressure for him to be able to go into power, all right? For him to be able to leave the power, to leave the power. And what they did an internal election where there was a guy, his name is Edmundo, all right, which is a bit of an older guy, and they put him into power because Machado, that you've probably heard of, which won the Nobel Prize, the Peace Prize, she was going to put herself as a candidate to be the next president and fight out against Nicolas Maduro. But there was some technical things that Maduro's government did that she couldn't put herself in the position to be a candidate. So they had to get someone else, and it was this guy, which is Edmundo. Now, the elections, everything in the election showed that Maduro lost, all right? Every spot, every place that there was where you had every voting center that there were some machines that you could print them out and it would give you like a sum of the votes and everything. And quite a few people that were there managed to print these out before they came in and took the machines and everything because they were trying to steal the election. And there was many of these, and he'd lost in pretty much every location that he was in there. And he kept saying that he had all this information and he was going to release it so the world could see that he'd won. He kept on saying that and he never did release it. So it came to a point now where the people of Venezuela were suffering. And good on Trump for someone to go out there and help a country. And we're having a lot of leaders now, and you look at them, what countries are they from? They're all from countries that they talk about, that they love the people, they care about the people, and all they're doing is stealing money from the people, you know, taking advantage of the people. And we're seeing a bit in our government as well. You know, all these promises, and look at us. In Australia, we're struggling with tax, we're struggling with, childcare, our pensioners are struggling, everyone's struggling. And meanwhile, we're throwing all these money away and they're living the life like if they were kings. And they're not. They're there because we put them there. They're there to represent us. And this is what happened in Venezuela. They weren't representing at all. And people were in poverty. So it took someone like Trump to go in and help them and release them people. Now, let's see what happens now, because he's taken him. He's going to go under, Trump offered $50 million for someone, hopefully around his circle, to give him up. And there was a situation where there was a plane that was flying overseas on one of his last trips that he did. And there was talks that they tried to convince the pilot to land in the United States, and he didn't. Because a lot of these people, especially their generals and their military, they're making more than $50 million through drugs, through exports, imports, all the money they're stealing from the people. They're making a lot more than that. Well, no one took up that offer. And it came to a point where they offered him to leave the country. They offered him many different roads that he could take to be able to free himself of being captured. And what happened now? And he was cocky and arrogant, as he has been all his life. You know, when he would yell out, "Come for me," he would yell out on national television to Trump, "Come for me, I'm here waiting for you," you know, and making threats and this and that. Well, this is what happened. Now, if you look at most countries and look at the internet, and I'll try to put a couple of links, video links there, so you can have a look at a bit of what I'm talking about, and have a look at the amount of people that are out there celebrating. And we had a senator here from the Greens Party coming out saying this is a kidnapping, this is this. And then we've got other people talking about human rights. This is what's wrong with all these organizations. We've got a bunch of people that are starving, that are literally starving, where we have a dictator that's taking advantage of these people, and people are defending it. They're like, oh no, but we have to have due process. We have to have this. He's rigged elections. He's been 17 years in power. What world are these people from? It's that they don't care. They don't care about their people. They just care about their interests. They care about helping their friends, because those friends, they get, payoff sometimes as well, or they get favors here and there, and they're in their little, community of group of friends that all they do is just talk, but none of them walk the walk. All they do is just lie and lie and lie. And we've got people even in our country defending him. It just amazes me. Instead of praising someone that's taken a dictator out to liberate the Venezuelan people. So to the Venezuelan people, hopefully this can be a turnaround, but it is concerning because the person that they've left in power now, that's taken over the presidency, her name is Daisy Rodriguez. Mate, she's as evil as it gets, right? She is one of her, top people within the government, and she is a nasty piece of work. Let me tell you, she's done a lot of things, to the Venezuelan people. So I wouldn't trust her at all. So let's see. She's already, you can see what, this is how some of these people work. They're just like rats. All right, they go and they talk to Trump because Trump said we had a conversation, like they kind of understood that, we're going to take over the country because there's no one really to take it over at the moment. And then obviously they'll have elections, give it back to the people, and let's make these people better. And what did she say? She went out on national television asking for proof of life, that they're not going to surrender, that this and that. So yes, I think she's worse than Maduro, if you ask me. I've known her, followed her for several years, and yeah, she's someone, even if you were a friend of hers, you'd have to watch your back. So yeah, so a lot of things happening. All right, so yeah, so there's a bit of an insight on what's happening there. Let's see what continues to happen. Again, people, please, if you feel that something that I've spoken in any of these videos, it makes sense to you, please subscribe, please share, please put a like. And until the next one, I'm out. Zuleta! See you later.